Welcome to the deep dive. Ever wonder how the airline industry constantly reshapes itself?
It's always changing, isn't it?
Exactly. Today, we're zooming in on some really fascinating recent moves. We're looking specifically at where airlines are expanding their routes and, how they're updating their aircraft.
Right. We've pulled together the latest from places like Asian Aviation and Che Aviation, all from late April 2025, give or take.
Yeah, the goal is to give you a clear picture of what's happening, but without getting totally lost in, well, pages and pages of details.
Think of it as your insider's look. We're extracting the most interesting bits about network growth, passenger numbers, fleet strategies, all that good stuff.
So have you ever considered how airlines actually decide, okay, where are we flying next? Or, what goes into picking these massive new planes?
Well, we've got some insights that should bring you right up to speed. Let's start over in Hong Kong, shall we? Some big developments there.
Absolutely. Cathay Pacific, they've just announced a really interesting addition to their map, Dallas.
Dallas, okay.
And this isn't just like one new pin. It's actually their sixth new passenger destination this year alone, if you count both Cathay Pacific and HK Express, their low-cost carrier.
Six this year. Wow.
Yeah, and in total, they've announced 15 new destinations for 2025. And there are whispers, that there might be more coming. It's a pretty ambitious expansion.
It really is. They even had a bit of an event for the Dallas launch, right? At the airport.
That's right, yeah. At Hong Kong International, key people were there. Cathay's director customer travel, Erica Peng, Stephen Yu Su-Trum from the airport authority, too.
So it really underscores the strategic importance, doesn't it? Connecting Hong Kong with a major U.S. hub like Dallas.
Definitely. And Lavinia Lau, she's Cathay's chief customer and commercial officer, she highlighted that this Dallas route is, well, it's all about making global destinations more easily accessible from Hong Kong.
Makes sense. The hub strategy.
And what's really striking is their aim. They want the Cathay Group's passenger network to cover over 100 destinations within the first half of this year.
Within the first half. That's soon. That's a big milestone to aim for.
It is. And it's not just about flying to Dallas. It's about the connections from Dallas, too.
Right through code shares and other links.
Exactly. Code shares where they sell seats on partner airlines and other connections mean passengers flying into Dallas can then easily get to, well, a whole range of places across the U.S., Central America, South America, too.
So it works both ways. People flying from Asia get access to the Americas, and they're hoping, I assume, to bring travelers from the Americas to Hong Kong and beyond.
That's the idea. Welcome travelers from Dallas and the wider Americas to Hong Kong and then onto other places in Cathay's network. It's about creating these sort of seamless travel options.
Looking at the bigger picture then, this Dallas move seems like a clear play to strengthen their foothold in North America.
Yeah, and cement Hong Kong's role as that major connection point for global travel. More choices, better connections.
Okay, so that's the network side. What about their actual performance? How are they doing?
Well, we got to look at the Cathay Group's numbers for March 2025. For Cathay Pacific, passenger numbers jumped by nearly 20% compared to March last year.
Almost 20% year on year. That's strong. And their capacity? AKSAs?
Available seat kilometers, yeah, that's the measure of total seats flown times distance. That was up by over 25%.
Okay, so significant growth in both traffic and capacity.
And if you look at the first quarter, the first 3 months of 2025, passengers are up 23.4% compared to the same time in 2024. Solid growth.
But wasn't March described as maybe a bit slower?
Interestingly, yes. They called it a quieter month for the travel business. Apparently, it was mainly because there weren't many long weekend holidays in Hong Kong.
Ah, okay, that makes sense. But here's the interesting part. Demand for premium cabins, business and first class, that stayed strong.
It did. And what's fascinating is why.
Go on.
Big events in Hong Kong. Things like the International Jewelry Show and Art Basel.
Right, so these major city events can really drive that high-yield traffic. That's a direct impact.
Absolutely highlights it. And then there was the Cathay HSBC Hong Kong Sevens rugby tournament.
Ah, yes. The sevens. Always huge.
Generated strong inbound demand, especially on long-haul routes. They even did a special fly past.
The fly past, really?
Yeah, to celebrate the event's debut at the new Kai Tak Sports Park and also the 100th anniversary of the old Kai Tak Airport. The one with the famous checkerboard approach.
Oh, that's quite a link to their history. And good branding, too, connecting with the local community like that.
Definitely. Looking ahead, they mentioned seeing good demand over the Easter holiday period as well, and some news passengers will probably like. by August 2025. So pretty soon, 100% of the Cathay Pacific fleet will have seatback screens for entertainment and high-speed Wi-Fi.
100% across the board. That's a big commitment. Enhancing that onboard experience is just so crucial these days, isn't it?
Totally. Especially for keeping those premium passengers happy. Reliable Wi-Fi is becoming less of a nice-to-have and more, well, expected.
An expectation, yeah. Okay, so that's passengers. What about the cargo side? Cathay Cargo.
Also some interesting moves there. In March, they carried over 10% more cargo compared to March 2024.
10% more tonnage.
Okay, and their AFTK's available freight ton kilometers, the cargo capacity measure, were up 8.5%.
Capacity up, tonnage up.
Right.
Sounds healthy. But wait, did the load factor dip slightly?
It did, yeah. Dropped by 1.2 percentage points year on year.
So carrying more overall capacity is up, but maybe not filling quite as much of that new capacity just yet, or maybe shifts in what's being shipped.
Could be. Lavinia Lau mentioned that specialized cargo solutions are still a really big focus for them.
Like what?
Good growth in their Cathay Priority service, and they launched a refreshed Cathay Fresh for perishables.
Okay, focusing on those value-added services.
And they did something quite innovative, a new intermodal cold chain route using the Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau bridge.
The bridge, how does that work?
Moving chilled seafood from Southeast Asia across the bridge into the Greater Bay Area, combining sea air and road transport, essentially.
That is innovative. Thinking beyond just the airport-to-airport part, adapting to complex supply chains, especially for temperature-sensitive stuff like seafood.
Exactly. Highlights the demand for those specialized, reliable services.
But potential headwinds for cargo too, right? There's something about China-U.S. trade.
Yeah, they are anticipating a potential softening of general air cargo demand between mainland China and the U.S. It's because of ongoing trade tariffs and also changes to something called the de minimis rules. Those changes kick in early May.
The de minimis threshold.
Right.
That affects small e-commerce shipments primarily. So global trade policies, geopolitical stuff, directly hitting air cargo demand.
Seems like it. Cathay Cargo said they're taking proactive steps, looking for new opportunities, redeploying freighters if needed. Shows you need to be adaptable.
Definitely need that flexibility.
Right.
What about HK Express and all this? The low-cost side.
They also had a strong March. Carried over 610,000 passengers. That's a huge jump, 25.4% up from last year.
Wow, over a quarter increase. And capacity.
Also grew significantly. ASK is up 35.6%.
So, continued strong growth for HK Express. Adding routes, adding capacity. Clearly, there's a strong appetite for budget travel in the region.
Absolutely. Seems like a key part of the overall Cathay Group strategy.
And looking ahead for them, bookings.
They saw good demand over Easter, but they mentioned bookings for the pre-summer and peak summer periods were picking up a bit slower. More customers booking closer to their travel dates.
That late booking trend. We hear that a lot, don't we? Makes forecasting and revenue management tricky for airlines. They need to be nimble.
Very nimble. Okay, let's switch gears. Fly over to the Middle East. Check out Etihad Airways.
Sounds good. They've been busy too, particularly with their fleet and cargo.
What stands out with Etihad is their focus on a modern fleet, isn't it?
Absolutely. They just took delivery of their 6th Airbus A350, and they're really pushing the message that this helps keep their fleet young and, importantly, fuel efficient.
That flight from Toulouse, France, signifies that ongoing investment in the latest tech.
And it's not just about efficiency, it's the passenger experience too, right? The A350s have that well-regarded business class.
Yeah, the one with privacy doors, wireless charging, good entertainment systems. And even in economy, they mentioned ergonomic seats, device holders, Bluetooth for the IFE.
Little things that make a difference on a long flight. Plus, the sustainability angle.
Right. Etihad emphasizes the A350 means 25% lower CO2 emissions.
And a 50% smaller noise footprint compared to older planes. That's significant. Plus, the long range makes it versatile.
Definitely aligns with that global push for more environmentally conscious flying.
And they're using these new planes to expand their network too, North America.
Yep. New gateway coming this summer, Atlanta.
Atlanta, okay. Hartsfield-Jackson, huge hub.
They'll use the A350 on that route. It becomes their 6th gateway into North America, and it's just one of 16 new routes they plan to launch this year.
16 new routes in 1 year. That's
Yeah.
ambitious. Adding Atlanta shows real intent to broaden their reach, connect the Middle East better with different parts of North America.
Seems that way. And using the A350 makes sense for that kind of long haul. Efficiency, comfort.
What about Etihad Cargo? Also expanding.
Big time, especially towards Greater China. They're planning to nearly double their flights there. from 11 flights total in 2024
Yeah.
to a planned 18 in 2025. That's a big jump.
18 flights. How are they managing that capacity increase so quickly?
They're actually using a wet-leased Boeing 747 freighter.
Wet leasing.
Yeah.
Renting the plane and the crew. A quick way to add capacity for high demand without buying or dry leasing long term.
Exactly. Shows the strategic importance of the China market for them and the need to react fast to demand.
Are there specific routes getting more cargo flights?
Yes, they mentioned 3 extra weekly freighter flights going into Shenzhen,
Shenzhen, okay. Major manufacturing and tech hub.
and also 2 additional weekly flights to London.
So strengthening links between China, Europe, and the Middle East. Good for e-commerce, pharma, perishables, all that critical stuff.
Pretty much. And if
Yeah.
you connect it back to Abu Dhabi's wider goals,
Right, positioning itself as a global logistics hub.
this expansion by Etihad Cargo feeds directly into that. Facilitates trade, strengthens Abu Dhabi's place in the global supply chain.
Makes perfect sense strategically. Okay, one more stop. Southeast Asia, Thai Airways.
Let's do it. They've also been making moves specifically on updating their fleet.
Yes, I saw they signed 2 new lease deals recently for A321EOs.
That's right, a significant step in their fleet growth plans. They've agreed to lease 9 A321AOs from CLC.
CLA, China Aircraft Leasing Group.
Correct. And another 5 from BOC Aviation. Both deals happened just in the past week.
Okay, 9 from CLC, 5 from BOC.
Yeah.
That's 14 new A321EOs lined up through leasing.
What's interesting is the CLC deal is actually their first partnership with Thai Airways.
Oh, really?
Yeah. CLC said it fits their strategy to grow their customer base in Asia-Pacific. They'll deliver those 9 planes between 2026 and 2028.
A new customer for CLC in a key region. Shows how competitive that aircraft leasing market is.
Definitely. Now, the deal with BOC Aviation, that builds on an existing relationship.
Right. Doesn't BOC already lease some wide bodies to Thai? Like
Yeah.
777s.
Exactly. 3 Boeing 777-300ERs currently. BOC Aviation's CEO Stephen Townend mentioned being pleased to work with Pi again. Underscores the value of those long-term relationships.
Did they say when those 5 A321neos from BOC would arrive?
Not a specific time frame for this year, just that they'll come from BOC Aviation's existing order book with Airbus.
It's always staggering to see the numbers these lessors deal with.
Yeah.
The sheer quantity of A321neos they have on order.
It really speaks to how popular that aircraft family is, doesn't it? The Neo new engine option.
Hugely popular. Fuel efficient, good range, good capacity for those medium-haul routes. It's a workhorse. These leases are a clear sign. Thai is focusing on upgrading its narrow-body fleet.
And these recent deals, these 14 leased aircraft, they're part of a much bigger plan, right?
Oh, yeah. Their 2024 Investor Roadshow laid out a really ambitious goal. They want to grow from, what, 79 aircraft currently?
Into 143 aircraft by 2027.
Almost double the fleet size in just a few years. That's massive growth.
Plus, they also have 32 A321-200Ns on direct order from Airbus, with deliveries supposed to start later this year.
So a mix of direct buys and leases, that's a huge transformation underway for Thai Airways, especially considering, their recent financial restructuring. This kind of rapid expansion is definitely something to watch.
Absolutely. It highlights their determination to recover fully and really capitalize on the travel rebound. Using both leases and direct orders gives them flexibility, I suppose.
Manage the growth, manage the cash flow. Makes sense.
Okay, so let's try and bring this all together. We've covered quite a bit of ground.
We have a whirlwind tour of recent airline news.
We saw Cathay Pacific making that strategic network expansion into Dallas, got a feel for the traffic trends in March, both passenger and cargo, and their focus on things like premium cabins and specialized cargo.
Then Etihad really prioritizing that modern, fuel-efficient fleet with more A350s, enhancing the passenger experience and making a big push in cargo capacity, especially to China.
And finally, Thai Airways taking significant steps to modernize their fleet with all those A321neo deals, leases, and direct orders, setting the stage for really substantial growth in the next few years.
So hopefully you now have, a concise yet pretty comprehensive overview of these key shifts shaping the near future for these major players.
Adding routes, renewing fleets, growing cargo. These moves offer real insights into airline priorities right now.
Absolutely. It's all about positioning for the future, capturing demand, and improving efficiency.
These expansions and fleet updates, they really do give us a fascinating glimpse into how global air travel is evolving. It kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it?
What's that?
What new connections, what new travel possibilities might these changes unlock for you, the listener, in the years to come?
That's a good thought. How these airline strategies might actually impact our own future travel plans. Definitely something to consider.
Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in.